Welcome to Daily English Academy. In this video, you will listen to a real English conversation at the airport. This dialogue is suitable for A2 level English learners, so it is simple and easy to understand. You will learn useful words and phrases for traveling and airports. Watch, listen, and practice along. It was a sunny morning, and John arrived at the airport with his suitcase. He felt excited and a little nervous because this was his first trip to London. The airport was busy. People were walking quickly, some with big suitcases, others talking on the phone. John looked around and saw the check-in desks. He walked to the counter of his airline. A friendly staff member smiled at him. "Hello. Good morning. How can I help you today?" she asked. John smiled and replied, "Good morning. I want to check in for my flight to London." The staff member nodded and said, "Of course. Can I see your passport and ticket, please?" John handed them to her. She checked his documents carefully. "Do you have any bags to check in?" she asked. "Yes, I have one suitcase," John answered. He placed the suitcase on the scale. The scale showed 18 kilograms. "Perfect," the staff said. "The limit is 23 kilograms, so your bag is fine." John felt relieved. "Thank you," he said. Then the staff asked, "Do you want a window or an aisle seat?" "I prefer a window seat, please," John replied. "Okay," said the staff, smiling. "Here is your boarding pass. Your gate is B12. Boarding starts at 10:30. Enjoy your flight." "Thank you very much," John said. He took his boarding pass and his suitcase. John felt happy and excited. He looked at the big screen showing flight information and started walking toward the security area. As he walked, he thought about his trip. He imagined seeing the London Bridge, visiting museums, and trying new foods. John felt ready for an adventure. The airport was busy, but everything seemed exciting and new. He knew that the journey had just begun. John walked quickly to the security area. The airport was still busy, and he could hear announcements over the loudspeakers. He felt a little nervous because he was not sure what to do. He saw a long line of people waiting to go through the security check. When it was his turn, a friendly security officer smiled at him. "Hello, sir. Please put your bag on the conveyor belt," the officer said. John lifted his suitcase and carefully placed it on the belt. "Please take off your shoes and belt," the officer continued. John followed the instructions. He took off his shoes, his belt, and placed them in a small tray. "Do you have any liquids or sharp objects in your bag?" the officer asked. "No, I don't," John replied politely. The officer nodded and said, "Okay, please walk through the metal detector." John walked slowly. He felt a little nervous, but the machine did not beep. "You're all clear," the officer said with a smile. "Thank you." John felt relieved and smiled. He picked up his shoes and belt and put them back on. He also took his suitcase from the other side of the conveyor belt. The security process was easy, and John was happy it was over. As he walked away from the security area, he looked around and noticed many shops and cafes. He thought he might buy a bottle of water before going to his gate. John felt excited and ready for the next part of his airport journey. After passing through security, John walked slowly down the airport corridor. He looked at his boarding pass and realized he needed to find gate B12. The airport was large, and many passengers were walking in different directions. John felt a little unsure and decided to ask for help. He saw an airport staff member standing nearby. He walked up politely and said, "Excuse me, can you help me?" The staff member smiled and replied, "Of course. What do you need?" "I need to find gate B12, John said. "Go straight for about 50 meters, then turn right. You will see a coffee shop. Your gate is next to it," the staff explained. "Thank you. How long will it take to walk there?" John asked. About 5 minutes. It is not far, the staff answered. John nodded and then asked another question. And where is the restroom? Go straight and turn left. You will see it, the staff replied. Thank you very much, John said with a smile. You're welcome. Have a nice flight, the staff said. John started walking toward gate B12. As he walked, he felt more confident. He could see other passengers with boarding passes, some carrying coffee cups and reading newspapers. John enjoyed the atmosphere of the airport. He imagined sitting at his seat near the window and looking outside as the plane took off. John finally arrived at gate B12. The area was busy with passengers sitting and standing, waiting for their flights. Some people were reading newspapers, others were checking their phones. John looked around for an empty seat. He saw a woman sitting alone and asked politely, "Is this seat free?" The woman smiled and replied, "Yes, you can sit here." John thanked her and sat down. He looked at his boarding pass and then around the gate. He noticed the flight information screen and the signs for boarding. After a few minutes, John started a small conversation with the woman. "Are you waiting for the London flight too?" he asked. "Yes, I am," she said. "I'm traveling for business." "That's nice," John replied. "I'm going for vacation." "Oh, that sounds fun," the woman said. "Do you travel often?" "Not very often," John said. "This is my first time to London." The woman smiled and nodded. "I hope you enjoy your trip." "Thank you." "You too," John replied. As he waited, John sipped water from his bottle and looked around the gate. The airport was lively, with announcements for other flights and the sound of luggage rolling on the floor. He felt a mix of excitement and anticipation. Soon, the boarding call for his flight would start, and he would be on his way to London. Finally, it was time to board the plane. John heard the announcement and stood up with his suitcase. He joined the line with other passengers, all showing their boarding passes to the flight attendants. The atmosphere was lively, and people were chatting excitedly. When it was his turn, a friendly flight attendant smiled at him. "Good morning. May I see your boarding pass?" she asked. John handed it to her. "Thank you," she said. "Your seat is 14A. Please go straight and turn left." John walked down the aisle carefully, carrying his small bag. He found his seat by the window and put his suitcase in the overhead compartment. He sat down and buckled his seatbelt. The flight attendant came by and asked politely, "Would you like a blanket or a pillow?" "Yes, please. A blanket is fine," John said. She handed him a soft blanket, and John smiled. He adjusted himself in the seat, feeling comfortable. He looked out the window and saw the airport terminal getting smaller as the plane prepared for takeoff. John felt a mix of excitement and curiosity. He imagined the clouds outside and the view of London from above. He also thought about the interesting places he would visit and the food he would try. The plane was ready, the passengers were settled, and John knew that the adventure was about to begin. John had settled into his seat by the window. The seat next to him was empty at first, but soon a woman came and sat down. She smiled at him and said, "Hello, is the seat next to you free?" "Yes, it is," John replied with a smile. "My name is Sarah," she said, offering her hand. "Nice to meet you, Sarah." "I'm John," he said, shaking her hand. They started talking a little. Sarah was visiting a friend in London, and John explained that he was going there for vacation. They also shared a few thoughts about traveling. John asked Sarah if she traveled often, and she said yes, mostly for work. John shared that this was his first time in London, and Sarah encouraged him to enjoy the city. As the plane started moving on the runway, John looked out the window. The airport got smaller, and soon the plane was flying above the clouds. He watched the city and fields below and felt amazed. The sound of the plane was comforting, and he could see tiny houses, roads, and rivers far below. John leaned back in his seat, adjusted his blanket, and felt excited about the adventures ahead. He knew this trip would be full of new experiences, and he was ready to enjoy every moment. The flight had started, and John's journey to London had officially begun. The plane is flying high above the clouds, and John is looking forward to his adventure in London. He feels happy and excited about the new experiences waiting for him. Traveling is always fun and full of surprises. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed John's journey at the airport. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to Daily English Academy for more real English stories and dialogues. Also, hit the bell icon to get notifications when we post new videos. Practice English every day and have fun learning. See you in the next video. Bye.